once again, poor Damon Hill has had to retire. That's his 4th retirement after having to go out of the race in South Africa and San Marino and Spain. But Williams have done it with 50% of the team in the place that matters. First position, Prost rolls into the Parc Fermé now, which is where the cars have to go to be examined by race officials to make sure they're legal. There's Michael Schumacher. He's home safely in 2nd position, although he's being pushed. I suspect he's just allowed the engine to die. He finished 7.6 seconds behind Alain Prost, and a long way ahead of his teammate. But Benetton, for the first time this year, have got 2 cars in the first 3 places. Senna, having contemplated things, wearily gets out of the car, waves to the crowd, which he loves. He loves driving in Britain, not when he retires. But Prost, off comes the helmet. Now we'll see the famous French face and the curly hair. And Johnny Herbert has finished in 4th place. Lotus are back, and that is great news. Ayrton Senna finishes in 5th position, because most of the other people had been lapped, and Senna, although he's a lap down, still takes 5th position. Derek Warwick finishes in 6th, and Mark Blundell in 7th place. So Johnny Herbert for Britain 4th, Derek Warwick for Britain 6th, Mark Blundell for Britain and France, because he drives for the Ligier team, 7th. The British drivers Hill and Brundle sadly out of it. Riccardo Patrese on the right. Oh, he'll be... Well, look at that. And Michael Schumacher smiling. He's, as ever, tremendously cheerful young man. And, well, what does the expert think? Jackie Stewart, 50 wins for Alain Prost, but the new boy's coming up fast.
Well, I think it's great for Alan. 50 wins. I really congratulate him. As I said, I was there on his 28th win when he beat my record. I said at that time, you know, Alan, I'm sure you'll go on to win 40. Well, he's certainly proving me wrong. He's adding to them all the time. Nevertheless, 50 is an incredible record for anyone to meet. The man who's walking beside him right now may be the man who will have to take that challenge on, but it'll take him a lot of years to do that. It certainly won't be Riccardo Patrese, because he's had enough victories behind him now, almost to serve what perhaps he deserves, but he's had a lot of races. But Schumacher is a rising star. Ayrton Senna today, again unlucky at Silverstone, but of course started with great verve, but I don't think he was ever going to do the job today. Damon Hill certainly could have done the job as far as I was concerned, and it's very sad that he wasn't given that opportunity to win this home Grand Prix. But to the little professor, he really is the master at going faster, as George Harrison once said. He really is the intelligent driver. He drives only as fast as he needs to drive. He somehow conserves his engineering ability within that car and its preparation.
The stirring strains of the Marseillaise ring out for Alain Prost, the French winner of the British Grand Prix, and God Save the Queen for the Williams British team for the top constructor, as Prince Michael gives the trophy to a very happy Alain Prost. Well, that 6th win has increased his points in the 1993 season to 67, one race into the second half of the championship. Michael Schumacher receives his trophy from Kenneth Clark. You see, he's well pleased. A Frenchman wins, a German is second, and Italian Riccardo Patrese takes the trophy for 3rd place. So it's a pretty international British Grand Prix. France, Germany and Italy. An Englishman, Damon Hill, breaks Nigel Mansell's lap record, having led the race for a long, long time. Sadly, today was not his day. It most certainly was Alain Prost's. And now the inevitable champagne spraying, with which, of course, Alain Prost has got a great deal of experience. And I remember Nicky Lauda saying once, I hate all this because it takes about 3 days to wash the smell of the stuff out of my overalls afterwards. And those overalls cost well over £1,000 a pair. Well, Prost can afford it. He's a very wealthy man. And the little Frenchman, and you see now why I use that word a lot, as Riccardo Patrese and Michael Schumacher tower over him, with confirmation of the fact that the 1993 British Grand Prix at Silverstone has been won by Alain Prost for Williams-Renault, with the Benetton Fords of Michael Schumacher and Riccardo Patrese second and third, ahead of Johnny Herbert, Ayrton Senna and Derek Warwick. And down in the pit lane, Jonathan Palmer can tell us what happened to Ayrton Senna.
Well, I've just been looking at the data logger with the McLaren engineers, and Senna's problem was lack of fuel pressure towards the end of the race, which is pretty likely to be, almost certainly, in fact, he ran out of fuel. But what's interesting is that apparently Senna opted to run what Ron Dennis felt was a rather too low fuel load, obviously in the interest of trying to find out, or trying to get the last few tenths of lap time out of the car, and it looks like on this occasion he made the wrong decision, clearly running out. But apparently it was Senna's decision to run that amount of fuel. Now also we've got news from Patrick Head that there is no indication on their telemetry whatsoever that there was any problem with the engine prior to it going, so it looks like a mechanical fault for that Renault V10.
I thought Patrick Head was going to have said that there was no indication that there was any problem with the Renault engine, in which case I was going to assure him that there had been a major problem, but obviously that is not the case. Victory for Alain Prost at Silverstone in the Williams. A great day for Benetton, second and third. First time they've done that for a long time. Johnny Herbert, a great day for Lotus and for Johnny himself. Fourth position. Not a great day for Ayrton Senna, lapped in fifth position, but Derek Warwick scores the first point the footwork have had for a very long time. Mark Blundell just out of the points in the Ligier. JJ Leto in the Sauber finishing much higher than he might have expected to because he started well down. At least Jean Alesi finished, which is more than his Ferrari teammate Gerhard Berger did. And Katayama and Brundle, of course, were well down by virtue of the fact that they had been lapped many times. 14 drivers were officially classified as having finished out of the 25 that started. Damon Hill's fastest lap time was 1 minute 22.515. Alain Prost now a comfortable 20 points ahead of Ayrton Senna in the championship. Michael Schumacher moves ahead of Damon Hill after Damon's retirement. Schumacher 2 points ahead now. And Riccardo Patrese, who was down in 8th position before this race began, is now up in 5th. And as you see, Johnny Herbert has got 6 points now, with the bottom Ferrari, 9 points, I'm sorry, Johnny Herbert, and Derek Warwick down at the bottom of the table, but nevertheless, he's on the table and has got a point for footwork. That will help them in terms of morale, and it will help them financially no end too. So the crowd at Silverstone have seen an exciting and certainly a very eventful British Grand Prix, and now the Williams team 45 points ahead of McLaren Ford, and it looks like nothing's going to stop them winning the Constructors' Championship this year. But Benetton inching up on McLaren, just 11 points in it. Ligier still on their target, but they've got to score some points to make sure they get 30 by the end of the season, which is what they are aiming to do. And the Lotus team with 10 has moved up a place in the championship. And down in the interview room, waiting to talk to Martin Whittaker, on the left, Riccardo Patrese, on the right, Michael Schumacher, and in the middle, the man, Alain Prost.
Gentlemen, congratulations on a fabulous British Grand Prix, which had excitement written all over it right down to the last lap. Turning to you, Alain, today you set another landmark in an illustrious Grand Prix career with your 50th victory. but this was a race where your teammate Damon Hill looked to be heading for a dream first win in the front of his home crowd. Was there anything you could have done about it?
I don't know what I was able to do. In fact, I was able to catch him. Was quite far at the beginning because I missed the start again. Was 8 seconds behind and was able to catch him and to be just behind him. But to overtake a car here, it's quite difficult. He was driving quite well. I think it would have been very, very difficult to overtake him. I just wanted to go until the end like this behind him and just wait for the right opportunity. But I don't think it looked that I would have had one, you know, and would have been difficult.
Presumably the team would have radioed through Damon's problem. Did this give you further cause for concern?
I saw his problem. And I was wondering if he was pulling more revs or something, and I didn't know what to do, but I slowed down quite a lot. But when I slowed down, I mean, Michael was pushing behind me quite hard, and then it was more and more difficult. I think because I slowed down, maybe the tires pressure were a little bit low and was more difficult to go fast and fast at the end, but I was able to keep the pace anyway.
Well, Michael, turning to you, consistency seems to be the name of your game. Another podium finish here in Britain. It's looking good, and you're closing in on Senna.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we should have been even in front of Senna, but the beginning of the season didn't run so well as it does now. Unfortunately, Alan could make up the pace again at the end. I thought there is maybe a little problem with his car as well after Damon blew up. And I was pushing really hard. I mean, I couldn't do anything more, but was not able to come closer than 4 seconds, and then he started to push a bit harder. But I believe the performance from the car is really great, and I'm quite happy. We have now both cars in the first 3, and I think there's a good result.
Well, turning to your teammate, Riccardo Patrese, you grabbed 3rd place in the dying moments here to claim your first podium finish this year. Tremendous result.
Yes, I'm very pleased. Really, this is the first race that I enjoy very much this year. The car went very well, and it was really very busy the last part of the race after the safety car, because lap cars with me, Brandel, Herbert, they were really quite wild, I should say. So it was quite interesting. I'm very, very happy, and also because the team had a little bit of passion. I did the first part of the season didn't come really very right for me, but I hope now that is a new start for the second half.
Once more back to you, Alain. A word perhaps for the thousands of British supporters here who turned up to see Damon win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry because during the whole weekend he was driving very well, and he has done a very good job, and I really think he deserved to win this race, especially here at home, and that doesn't happen. It's not, you know, that's my 50th victory, and I would have liked to win in a different ambience. You know, for sure the people here are very disappointed, and I'm very sorry for them, very sorry for them, but nothing I can do about that. You know, I will be happy a bit later in the day.
Turning our thoughts just briefly ahead to Germany in 2 weeks' time, Damon showed you a clean pair of heels here. What are the prospects next time round?
I think this one was a very strange race for us because of Damon's situation, and I think Germany would be a little bit different in terms of pressure. Because I won again here, I would be a little bit more relaxed for the championship. Also, Hockenheim, we should go very well because our car is fast. We have a very powerful engine, and Hockenheim should be good. Yeah.
And I'm sure the man next to you is going to be fired up on home soil. Michael, what are the chances?
I mean, it depends what he is doing. I think now he has 50 victories. He's leading the championship far enough. Maybe I think he let me through, and I can win the race. Maybe we have a talk later about this. But I think that as we saw here and over the last races, our car is performing very well behind the Williams, in front of the McLaren, and I think that is our position we are in. If they run into a bit of trouble, we may have the chance to pick up another position. But we see. I think behind the Williams, that is already a big step from last year.
Well, Alain Prost, Michael Schumacher, Riccardo Patrese, congratulations on a great British Grand Prix.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll have live coverage of that German Grand Prix in a fortnight's time. We accept Alain Prost's apologies for his victory here at Silverstone. Very, very nearly another heroic day for British motorsport, and we hope to get a further word with Damon Hill before the end of Sunday Grandstand this afternoon. We've got more motorsport to come. We've got action from the British Formula 3 Championship and also from the British Touring Car Championship a little later in the programme. But the next big event of this sporting summer is the Open Championship, which starts at Royal St George's, Sandwich, on Thursday. And we've got precisely the right man to guide our thoughts towards that. Nick Faldo.
And they lose a bit of distance, of course.
You come here very definitely as a motorsport fan, don't you?
Well, I enjoy it like anybody. I mean, it's a great event. And, you know, like, motor racing is driving, what have you, so I've got a genuine interest in it.
I think it's the first Grand Prix you've seen live.
It is.
It's
yeah,
an
I've been for practice. Yeah.
First impression, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's the first time I've sort of been to an event like this from the other side of the ropes, which is great for me because normally I'm. But and interesting to see what you know, the drivers go through, what they have to do to keep everybody happy and this sort of thing.
What impressed you most in that direction? I saw you down on the grid and you were bustling around the drivers there, and there's a lot of concentration, isn't there?
Yeah, well, I met a lot of the British guys before. I mean, in fact, all of them, apart from Damon. And I thought it was very interesting on this time on the grid. I saw you lined up for interviews, and I saw the nod was a no, you see. And I just,
we get them occasionally.
Well, precisely. I for my, putting a word in for myself, you know, I think the reason why he said no to interviews because he knew he could win. And there's a big difference. There's a massive difference between any sportsman going out and competing just to compete. But once you realise you can win, and in case he's allowed to win, he was a different person, wasn't he? He was really switched on, wanted to be himself. You know, it's a bit like me. I mean, I think if you're playing to win, it's a totally different ball game. There's so much more pressure and what have you. So that was interesting that he was really knuckling down. I had dinner with him a couple of weeks ago, and there was talk that he was going to take me for a ride around the track before. I said, hang on a minute, I mean, this is like me, want to play 9 holes with me before the British Open? I said, no way. So, and he wanted to be himself today, which was, was a different character to he may even admit to normally being. So,
and you will probably also identify with the kind of media attention he's attracted.
Oh yeah, massive. I mean, he's done a fantastic job. I mean, crumbs, he's only been in it a year now, and the pressure and everybody having to go at you and have you. And the way he drove was brilliant. I wasn't 100% sure whether he would want to go out and lead and take it all the way, but yeah, it was a shame. Gosh, you know, I was right on the corner when they came round and the engine boof, and that was
the problems you encounter in sport are largely of your own making, I suppose. Something like that when you're trying your heart out and the engine goes. And
yeah, it's like my shaft snapping. At least I know that all 14 can't go at once.
Yeah. What do you admire most about them as a breed?
Well, as we say, you know, if we hit 1 OB or we 3-putt, you know, it's not if these guys hit 1 OB or 3-putt out here. It's a little bit more serious. I mean, they're incredible to go out there and hurtle around like this.
Is what I read right, that you have certain ambitions to...
No, don't, Steve. You fall into that trap of believing what the papers say.
No, I'm very cautious.
No, I have a genuine interest. I want to improve my driving. I've had some great offers. I mean, Jackie's offered me to come to one of his driving schools, and that's what I enjoy. I did this 10 years ago, and I go out again, and unfortunately I have a private day out with the boys, and there's the press guy there, and it's the same old story. And I said, well, it's my day off. I want to come here and drive. Unfortunately, it ends up as a story, and that I'm going to take on the world in whatever. And obviously, I meet a lot of people, and I've made good friends with Ari Vartan, and that's another one of my interests, rally driving as well. I love that. And
now, you've had a few rides with him.
I've had a couple of rides with him, and that is my sporting experience of my lifetime. I can promise you.
Yeah, I mean, they are a different breed in turn to Grand Prix.
Totally. I mean, I was talking to Damon, and when I mentioned Ari, he said, "Oh, I'd love to do that as well." They're different style of driving, and I've been through the Welsh Forest stage, and as you can imagine, we're doing, the first run we did, I mean, we're doing 90, and I've got 30 yards of visibility, and he's putting me through a bush sideways, and I don't know whether the road goes left or right or whatever, and you come flying over, I tell you,
Yeah.
That is quite a feeling.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to hear you say you want to improve your driving. I didn't really think that there was too much wrong with it from what I've seen in recent weeks. After 42 laps, this was his car in the pit lane just a short time ago. Damon Hill had led all the way and was looking in command, but out he went after 42 laps of the British Grand Prix. And it left us with yet another victory for Alain Prost, his 50th win of his great career, and he also equalled Jim Clark's record of 5 British Grand Prix wins. His 6th victory of the season, Alain Prost. The Benetton drivers Michael Schumacher and Riccardo Patrese filled the other rostrum places, but Johnny Herbert had his 3rd, 4th place finish of the season, while Derek Warwick collected his first point of the season in 6th. Ayrton Senna dropped back after suffering a fuel pressure problem on the very last lap. And Prost's 50th Formula One triumph, that extends his lead at the top of the World Championship standings to 20 points over Ayrton Senna, who got that 5th place today.